Hi all, Gary Waterman. Going to do part 6 now of the World Trade Center research in relation to this international fraud. This is the biggest problem now facing our planet, and it is our own governments. I cannot emphasize that enough. They need to step down those involved and change the system. They need to get people in that we can trust. This shows that can't happen. So we are looking at research stemming from my company that I'm still a shareholder for, and another shareholder and director, Deborah Fleming. Nothing wrong with me showing you this. It's public information. I'm not saying Deborah Fleming or myself is involved in any fraud or anything wrong, but it appears that there's overwhelming evidence to show that our company is part of a fraudulent system. So here we've got Beechcroft Hotels Limited, and you can see that is linked through to a company called Bishop Fleming, okay, in the correspondence. See there, they were incorporated in 2005. So this is all linking into World Trade Center research. And you can see that this company, Online Nominees Limited, and Beechcroft. But let's look at Bishop Fleming. So that's where we've gone with this. So this company here, they were incorporated in November 2002. They had an original incorporation name in 2002 of Final Solutions, and then changed in 2003. And they are linked through to 788 to 790 Finchley Road in London. Remember, this is notorious. If you look up the Ham and High article, Finchley Road, you'll see that Finchley Road, this address, appeared to have been used as an empty address to register companies that wanted to be involved in fraudulent activity. It's also linked to corrupt politicians, international fraud. Barbara McCann was also mentioned on that report, and A1 company service, as well as temple secretaries. And here we are, we've got it linked through to a company linked to a former NHS chief executive in charge of a £700 million NHS budget. You can see Deborah is linked to Bournemouth and Poole Healthcare Trust, which links to near my area, Bournemouth Hospital. And on that incorporation document, you've got Beechcroft again. At Beechcroft, there's also an address of Fetter Lane. Yeah, Fetter Lane features throughout. These are all public documents. I suggest you go and verify this, at least some of it. Make sure you can see these documents are genuine. All I've done is highlight some bits within them and redact some personal information out. I shouldn't have to. It's public records. But you can see that it links through to this company, Schuster Bruce Limited, okay, via this person. So this is one company away now. And you can see that Barbara Cahan is a director on it. That is mentioned in the Ham and High article as a name that is used throughout the fraud. Research suggests she was a social worker that worked for the National Children's Bureau, which we'll come on to shortly, but died in 2000. But here we are, a name of hers being used in 2010 when this company was incorporated. We've also got a link through now to the New Yacht Club Limited, and that's because it was mentioned, I can't remember where, but if you look back slowly, you'll see it's mentioned within an incorporation document just once. I think there's hardly any other companies mentioned on that incorporation document, but this one. Okay, so for some reason this company was important. Oh, let me just move. So let's look at that company. Ooh. And here they are. You can see in Poole, in Dorset, near Bournemouth. Okay, where this all stems from my research, where my building is. And you can see that company is linked to Waterlow and Sons Limited. All right, that links throughout the fraud. That company also links through companies to other shareholders within my building, within my company. You'll see it features right the way through the fraud. So when you look at research for Waterloo and Sons, it leads to the currency producer for the country, De La Rue. So we're now looking at De La Rue and research in relation to De La Rue. There is another video on De La Rue itself. Again, feel free to go and look at your own research. You can see De La Rue PLC is mentioned. It sells to governments, central banks and businesses. Its authentication division provides government revenue solutions, brand protection. They forgot to mention they appear to be involved in international fraud. And here's De La Rue PLC. They were incorporated in 1999, an address in Hampshire, near Dorset. Okay, there's lots of Hampshire addresses featured throughout. It's where the Deputy Chief Constable now works, Sam DeRaya, that was in Dorset, that was overseeing the investigation, the department, sorry, for the investigation, who leaked information, that department or somebody within the force leaked information to Deborah Fleming's husband. I've got an email proving that. That Deputy Chief Constable was then moved, as was the Chief Constable. You'll see from these documents that Deborah Fleming has links through to Hampshire. And you can see this company was Swifting Corporation Limited. So this is the actual currency producers companies now linked to unlawful companies, which means that the currency producer itself is unlawful. I know this is absolutely massive. Here's another De La Rue Holdings Limited, 1898, based in Hampshire. And very importantly, the incorporation, the register says it's this company name that it was incorporated with, but it wasn't. It was incorporated with this document, completely different name, unregistered incorporation document. That's fraud. That's fraud. So now we've got, this is just showing research in relation to the evidence that's coming up. So you've seen the link there, how quickly we went from my building through to the main currency producer. I think that was within 4 companies, something like 4 companies, maybe 5. You can have a look back and see. Now let's come from the World Trade Center end. So you've got this company, Marsh McLennan. Remember, you've got Marsh and McLennan, okay, who's linked to the, as a tenant for the World Trade Center. It's fair to assume that this company is linked to them. Marsh McLennan India Limited. You can see they were incorporated in 2012. They link through to JLT Investment Management. And then they link through to a person through that company to Parkstone Yacht Club Limited. Now Parkstone is in Poole, as you can see on the right there. Poole is very close to Bournemouth, and it's obviously in Dorset as well. So there we go. We've got a very quick link to a yacht club. Now yacht clubs feature throughout this. Yachts are notorious for being illegally a asset, physical asset in relation to money laundering. Okay, so it's not as easy to trace through a bank. Yachts can just be supplied. As you know, if you look into the Michelle Mone PPE fraud, she appeared to obtain a yacht as well as other tangible assets through the acquisition of money from the PPE scandal, and those companies surrounding that are linked to this system of fraud. PPE MedPro is linked through to it. So looking from there, you can see OYES is on there, and you've also got Lester Aldridge. Okay, Lester Aldridge is on the incorporation document for Parkstone Yacht Club. And then from there, the person within that company, Christina Moncourt, I'm not saying she's involved in fraud, linked through to the new yacht club that we've already just mentioned, that links with about 4 companies from mine. So that means you've got 6, maybe 7 companies. This is one link, okay? There will be lots more, I'm sure. But this is one link from the World Trade Center within 6, 7 companies to my company, where forged bank documents were obtained. Now let's look at research in relation to Robert Maxwell. Hopefully you've heard of him. He was heavily involved in the media industry. Okay, supposedly he was linked to international espionage, a link to Russia and to Israel. Okay, take your time reading this. But he died from supposedly jumping from a yacht, funny enough. Okay, his daughter, which you'll see later, we've done research on her, Ghislaine Maxwell, says she thinks he was murdered. It's not hard to see why she thinks that. Now, the whole media system collapsed as a result of Maxwell's death. It practically reset the media system, if you like. It almost destroyed the whole banking system, had a massive implication throughout the whole world. And as we know, media companies are all linked through to this fraud. Every mainstream media company that I've looked at links through to the same companies that I have shown you on these documents that have false registered, unregistered incorporation documents. So read this. There's lots of controversy surrounding it. But within there are some companies mentioned, which you can look back at, that are affiliated with Robert Maxwell. So we'll start looking at them now. So you've got this one, Macmillan Publishers International Limited. You will have already seen from the other incorporation documents I've shown you, you've got Macmillan mentioned already within those incorporation documents. I think Fleming was linked to a Macmillan company on the incorporation document. I'd have to look back, but you can look back as well. So we're now looking at that company. And you can see it's got a company called Express. And importantly, I think, is this the one that changed the... No, okay. Oh, that was it. Yeah, this person has not been registered with the company, so that's from that incorporation document. And you'll see an address of City Road, features right throughout the fraud. Now, Express links through to previous research in relation to... These are different documents that I've got saved, and I've just gone into a bit more detail. It links through to the Jeffrey Epstein research. Okay, so this is just showing a document that's been saved. It's been backed up in various locations. Members of the public now have all of this. And you'll see that there's a Catherine Eleanor Fleming linked to this company. Now, I'm not saying it's the same person, but the year of birth is the same, 1961, I believe, for Deborah Fleming. You can see that, you can check that, go back on the research around my company, or you can look at it. And here we go, we've got 2 records for that person within this company, within this Robert Maxwell associated company. One with one company, one with 145. It's clearly the same person, and yet Companies House have duplicated records. Only Companies House would have done this, okay? If they try and say that this is through hacking, it ain't going to work. It's just not going to work, guys. And you can see MDL Marinas is linked through to this. That's important, becomes important in another video. And you can see we've now got an address already in Hampshire. Another yacht club address in Hampshire linked to Robert Maxwell. And you can see all these marina developments, companies MDL. Okay, and it's linked to Jordan's on the incorporation document. Jordan's and Jordan's and Sons in the left there. Now this person on the right connects now through to BMF Property Limited in Southampton, Hampshire again. Look how quick this is from Robert Maxwell. Look how quickly we've already got to Hampshire where this all stems. But this is crucial. So we've now got a link within, what's that, 3 or 4 companies to the, where is it? Police Crime Prevention Initiatives Limited company. Okay, so we've now got a police associated company linked with Robert Maxwell. It's companies very, very quickly, and again they are registered in Southampton, which is in Hampshire. Okay, so I'll let you read this bit at your leisure. This is just, you can pause it and read it. Again, anyone wants these documents, please contact me. I'll send these to you. It's much easier if you have these in front of you. You can then do your own research from it. Contact me at GaryTheTruthWillSetUsFree@gmail.com, or you can send me a private message or email on my wife's TikTok account of @Lisa.Waterman. Now, I mentioned it earlier, but here we are. We're looking at the Police Crime Prevention Initiatives Limited again. And you can see that previous research for that company links through to Michael Todd on the right. Now, hopefully you have seen from one of the previous videos, Michael Todd was the Chief Constable of Manchester Police that died in unusual circumstances. He was linked to a review of the CIA's extradition practices, extraordinary, I can't remember the name of it, extraordinary rendition? Can't remember, look at it anyway. But it was in relation to the extraction through flights of individuals and apparent breaches of human rights by the CIA and MI5 and MI6 around the Iraqi war. He died in unusual circumstances. And then, as you hopefully would have seen on my other video, Neil Monroe, who was an inspector in Dorset, then died of unusual circumstances by apparently jumping from a yacht. Okay, now a phone call was made to Max Clifford, according to the news articles, just after Michael Todd's death, and not long after Neil Monroe died. I used to work with Neil Monroe, lovely guy, and the newspaper article that printed the story of his death is involved or linked to this system of fraud. Okay, NewsQuest. The Chief Constable for that area is linked through to the system of crime, through the police and crime, through Safewise Limited, as is the local MP. You can see on this incorporation document, you've got a company here called Winksworth Sherwood. That becomes relevant. It's also linked through to Chettlebergs Limited on the left there. Now, Chettlebergs, we've already mentioned that a few times. That links through, when you search that company, to an unregistered incorporation document. So it has to be considered that Neil Monroe and others knew about this, knew about the paedophilic link throughout the whole lot, wanted to do something about it, phoned Max Clifford, or someone phoned Max Clifford, according to that news article that you see in the other video. Didn't maybe know that Max Clifford was heavily linked to it, involved, and then Neil Monroe died after Michael Todd, very soon afterwards, as well as another police officer, as well as we've now got the death of Peter Lawson, untimely death. He was involved in the investigation surrounding Nicola Bulley. Defence companies linked very closely to that. Defence companies linked very closely to this. Okay, through these inquiries to Neil Monroe and to Michael Todd. Now, we now see a link through to the Association of Chief Police Officers. I don't think I've put it here, but Michael Todd was linked as a director to one of these companies. But looking at this company now, it's no longer trading. You can see that the former Metropolitan Police Officer Paul Leslie Condon was linked to this company, and he was linked, you can see at the top there, BAE Systems. That's the country's largest defence contractor, BAE Systems, which links through to Nicola Bulley. And then you've got G4S Limited. Both of these companies are linked to unlawfully registered, unregistered incorporation documents and systems of fraud. You can see the previous research on the right here for Chettlebergs, for Winkworth Sherwood, links through to HS2, okay, the train system network company. That's all going on at the moment, isn't it? And the shambles that has been in relation to taxpayers' money. Remember, all the evidence I've got suggests taxpayers' contributions are being defrauded through this system of fraud through use of this system on Companies House and forged bank documents. And here we are, we've got Chettleberg's linked to HS2, linked to Winkworth Sherwood, linked to the Police and Crime Commission, the Association of Chief Police Officers. We've also got a link through to Chettleberg's, which are false incorporation, all linked to defence contractors. Now we're just researching Pergamon, which was another one of Robert Maxwell's companies. It brings up Elsevier Limited. Again, I suggest you do this research yourself. You can see here, it's, the company here changed its name in 2003 and hasn't changed its name since. Is it still active? Yep, still active at the time of this document when I put this together, which was very recently, and yet they haven't changed their name again since 2003. Look how many times they changed it before. And they're linked to OYES. On the incorporation document, this person has not been registered. But they've also got it's Howard Thomas. And that's really important. Howard Thomas features in another video soon. You've also got links to Atlas Hotels. Atlas Hotels links to research in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. This company links through to Soprasteria. Tesco PLC. I'm sorry, but they've also got an unregistered incorporation document. Oh my goodness. Okay, now we're looking at Ghislaine Maxwell research. I suggest you read all of this. You can pause it and look at it. She was arrested for sexual offences, I believe. Still alive. Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend, linked to Max Clifford. Obviously, this is Robert Maxwell's daughter. Linked to the Kit Kat Club, which we'll come on to in a minute, and Oxford Limited Football Club, which we'll come on to. On the top right, you can see there. She was sent, it's an interesting bit here, she was sent to New York by her father for, looks like a bit of a dodgy steal to steal some money from Berlitz shareholders. We'll mention Berlitz in a minute. But she doesn't think her father was killed himself. She thinks it was murder. You see, they're all involved in fraudulent activity, according to this article. And this is research in relation to Kit Kat Club. Links through to the Temple Bar in London. So according to research on here, Temple Bar there on the right. Again, you can read this. Okay, there's a Kit Kat Club in Germany that is a sexual fetish company or building and premises. Okay, so very closely that link to sexual fetish, Ghislaine Maxwell. You can see research on the left there, Temple Bar. Remember, Temple features throughout the fraud. This is just looking at that premises in Berlin in Germany. Okay, so researching Kit Kat Club Limited leads to Kit Kat Club Limited. Sorry, not Kit Kat Club, Kit Kat Limited. That was incorporated in 1996. And it's linked to Swift Incorporations. It's also linked on its incorporation document to addresses within Dorchester, which is very close to Dorset. Okay. And then you've got Dorchester Agricultural Society links through to it. And then this is quite interesting because this is the incorporation document and this appears to be forged. And the reason I say that is you've got a one company with a stamp there. Now, once you've signed a document, it shouldn't then be altered, should it? Unless you've got the people that have signed it to countersign it and say that they agree with a change on the document. But that does not appear to have been done. And it's stamped over the previous company. And again, you've got addresses now in Dorchester still on this. See how quickly this links through to the Dorset area. I found this quite interesting. There's an address on there. I've redacted most of it, but U-Tree. Remember, Operation U-Tree was the name of the operation in relation to Jimmy Savile, which, as I understand it, led to Max Clifford, supposedly. Now, if you look at the Nicola Bulley research link, the same previous former police officer was involved in starting the Operation U-Tree that is linked to the Nicola Bulley case and is linked to the Madeleine McCann case. Watch my Madeleine McCann video and you will see that in more detail. Again, that's already in circulation. New Forest, Dorset. Now this is just, I'm going to go slowly here. But this explains now the link to coming up to another defence contractor through this. And again, this links so quickly. Don't forget, a lot of these documents are in relation to the same company. Not every document relates to a separate company. So that last company we were looking at, can't remember what it was, again, Swifting Corporations Limited. That person hasn't been registered with them. Now, there's a link now already. So we've already come from Maxwell Ghislaine to Dorset. Within 2 or 3 companies, we're now linking to Kilinchi Aerospace Holdings Limited. That is, again, that's an address Middlesex. Not again, but there is an address in Middlesex. So here we're Kilinchi in Middlesex. Now look at the previous name, Martin Baker Engineering Limited. Previous incorporation document for that company is not what it should be. It's an unregistered company. Unregistered incorporation document. You can see that on that company you've got a James William Martin, and that links through to Martin Baker Aircraft Company Limited. This is looking at that company now. So that should have, and you can see this is an address in Middlesex. That has an unregistered incorporation document. Oh, sorry, it's not on the screen. And then that links through to J. Martin Armaments Limited. Okay, so this is all linked through. This is JM Armaments Limited. And when you research that company, it comes up that they were the producer of ejection seats, which is what somebody's already told me, actually. They've already mentioned that. And here's the origin of it on the left, just a bit of research. But when you search J. Martin Armaments, that company, it goes through to Lockheed Martin. It leads to Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin features in the David Cameron research very quickly. And they're registered in Hampshire again, all right? So we come back to Hampshire. Lockheed Martin, incorporated in 1989. Let's look at their changes of names. So you can see they changed their name at the top there on the left. We've got loads of changes in name. But the one of interest is in July 2000, it changed its name. You can see second one down from the top, 17th of July 2000, it changed its name. Then changed its name again in 2002. Remember, that seems to be happening. A lot of them are changing their names before the World Trade Center disaster, then soon afterwards, well, not long afterwards, and not again since. And you can see that's linked to Swifting Corporations Limited and Jordan and Sons Limited. Now let's look at Ghislaine Maxwell's other company that she's associated with. That's incorporated in 1949, and that's Oxford United Football Club Limited. Sorry, all you football fans, but that hasn't got it's got an unregistered incorporation document. That's fraud. I'm sorry, guys. I think no matter where you're from, what walk of life you're from, we all know this isn't right. We all know this isn't right. Come on. What are we teaching our children? Okay? We can't live in a world like this. We've got to change this. So it links through to Maxwell Communication Corporation PLC. And again, you'll see PricewaterhouseCoopers. That has already featured throughout the fraud. And that has it should have the name of British Printing Corporation Limited, but it hasn't. It's got a completely different company name. Now this links through to its importance in James Street. James Street features a lot in research surrounding Max Clifford, which links to a lot of film companies that, look at it later in the Max Clifford, they don't sound too great, a lot of these film companies. You've got a Robert Lomas links through to a Dorset company, Cathedral Homes Dorset Limited. So again, we're straight back now, we're looking in, already we're coming in back into Dorset through this research, and this is crucial. You've got Luscombe Pool Management Company Limited. Now that address on the right there, 3 Durrant Road, is the same address as the accountant that was being used for my company. And I'm going to say that company, Carter and Coley. So that was the same accountant address, now linked in from Ghislaine Maxwell. Remember, we've got fraud linked through the research of Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell, international fraud linked to espionage, etc. Now we've already linked in through to an address linked to my company. And importantly, they also link through to Robin Lomas, that's just showing he's on the incorporation. And they link to Initiative Property Management. Now remember, Dorset Police were supposedly investigating Initiative Property Management, but they appear to be trying to hide evidence. And you can see why. You can see why, because this is probably the most unprecedented, massive information that this world has faced for a long time. And it is an opportunity. I do not want society to collapse. I want a change in the system. Transparency, honesty, integrity. Let's get back to trusting people. We have to get rid of, they have to remove themselves from power. Let's get some people in that we can trust. And a transparent taxation system. This is more than possible to make this world so much better, because this system of fraud is the root cause of most of the problems in the world. It has been, and it's been planned for the last, Freemasons have been probably planning this for the last 3 centuries, all right? A lot of Freemasons would not agree with this. Most wouldn't. Most are being led up the garden path thinking that this is, the Freemasons are involved in all good things. Clearly this isn't a good thing. You can't commit crime against the public. It's causing suffering. It's linked to child paedophilia. It's linked to addiction, to family separation, financial struggles. Come on, people. All right. DG Developments, Dorset. You can see again 3 Durrant Road, same address, as is this company. Barbara Cahan now links to that company. What page are we on? Okay, with 33 minutes, I'm going to stop the video here at page 88. And we'll come back and do part 7, I believe it will be.